As Peter Attia notoriously said in his outlived book, the most common sign that you have a heart disease is that you just fall dead. Which is a real shame in this time and age when we know so much about how heart disease develops and all the tools we have to prevent it. It shouldn't be even in the top 10 killers, but somehow it's still number one. So here what I have is a cheat sheet which we used in our startup to create AI cardiologist. And you don't have to wait for that startup to go anywhere. Who knows what happens? You can start using this guide today. Not necessary for yourself, maybe for a family member, but you can check yourself as well. It's not all that long. I'm going to cover it in 10 minutes, hopefully, or maybe quicker. So what we have here is all the drivers, all the major drivers of heart disease. Obviously, it's cholesterol-carrying particle, apoB, right here. But of course, it's also blood pressure, which slams those particles into the artery walls. It's insulin resistance, it's inflammation, and triglycerides, and Lp(a), special particle which is sticky and siphons all the bad fats through your body and then gets stuck to the worst places in the arteries, and that usually implicated in early death. If somebody has family heart disease, that's usually Lp(a). And if you haven't checked it yet, you should check it once in your life, at least to know where you are genetically. And this is, as I said, a quick list. Each intervention will affect multiple things if you implement it. Let's say sleep reduces blood pressure, improves insulin resistance, improves inflammation. And you should get 7 to 9 hours. That's baseline. And this cheat sheet actually available for absolutely free. I'll post a link below on our Patreon. As I said, it's all free. Download it, use it, share it. Just save a few lives. Save yourself and your family, hopefully. Next big thing, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, is moving daily, exercise, because it affects pretty much everything here in this list except Lp(a), which is genetic. And ideally, you want to have several modalities there. You want to have zone 2 exercise, where you just slightly sweating, but still capable to talk. You should have more zones covered, with a little more endurance involved, and with high intensity, which you ideally do at least once a week. It's a hard exercise, but it's the most effective. Then, on top of that, you add resistance training. Our muscles are essential for quality of life, but they also improve insulin and blood sugar. Definitely makes sense to invest time into that. Sauna is a cheat code in a way because it mimics some of the exercise modalities. Interesting here for just for blood pressure is device-guided slow breathing. And then the big basket is diet. And the most, the strongest piece here is losing visceral fat, the whole body composition. Exercise affects that, but diet affects body composition the most. Should be aware of that. And if you reduce your visceral fat below 1 pound or even lower, which you can check with DEXA scan, you, in one go, drive every marker, not just cholesterol, but everything. Next is trying to minimize saturated fat and up mono and polyunsaturated fat, which kinda drives you in towards plant-based. Get carbs to tolerance. You can use CGM, continuous glucose monitor, to check yourself if you want like a really deep dive. But basically, sugar is not bad for you. Sugar which you cannot process is bad for you. That's what it means, carb tolerance. Up the fiber, that's also, you probably already know. Fiber grabs all the cholesterol and flushes it out. Also plant-based. But you want your protein, and it doesn't have to be necessary plant. It can be low saturated fat meats. It can be fish, which is kind of here, because you want your omega-3 index elevated to at least 8%, which you can quickly measure with finger prick. Then you keep your eyes on sodium. You don't want to go completely zero, but you need to keep an eye and avoid, basically if you avoid processed foods, your sodium should be okay. Alcohol, well, there is, as I say, there is no safe dose of alcohol. I don't quite agree with that. There is safe dose to everything, even to cyanide. But keep it under control. If you cannot stop drinking after half a glass once or twice a week, then maybe 0 is the right amount. Then nitrate-rich foods, leafy greens, beets especially, they're very good for reducing blood pressure down and reducing inflammation. Again, it all points to plant-based with fish and eggs and lean meats as the base for your diet. Cheat code here is early time restricted eating, also known as intermittent fasting, but with some modifications to shift your eating window earlier in the day, which aligns with the sun, which aligns with hormone peaks, and improves sleep. So in a way, it's all by itself, it says insulin resistance and triglycerides, but it kind of affects more from this list. And by the way, in this post, I have links which you can click, and it will get to a deeper dive
Q&A
into other videos, so you can always get to the next level if needed. Then we have obvious stuff again: non-smoking, vaping, everything you inhale damages your lungs, very bad for inflammation, blood pressure. Air quality sits around with smoke. I almost, in every room where I spend a lot of time, I have a HEPA filter. They're cheap, and it's a good protection against microplastic, mold, and all particles in the air. And by the way, checking your house for mold is a big thing too, especially if you live in the old house. Next on the list is oral health, because any inflammation here goes there. So keep an eye on it. Don't let your gums bleed. Go see a dentist and address that. Next on the list is a little more technical, homocysteine. I have a couple videos about it if you want to check it later. Right, the link is here. But you want to keep your homocysteine under 8 with B12 vitamins, folate. You can get them in methylated form. And the next is caffeine. Again, caffeine is good in reasonable amounts, especially early in the day, so it doesn't mess up with your sleep. Something you need to play with a little bit is filtering. What I found personally is that when I filter my coffee, it drops my apoB by almost 20 points, which is huge. You should always keep an eye on your medications and reassess them as needed, at least once a year, because quite often, like PPIs, for example, here, those antacids, you get them in the hospital or during some emergency, and you're supposed to stop them in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks, but somehow prescription stays and you get addicted to them, and that leads to the host of issues downstream, not just heart disease, but dementia and all kind of organs issues. And when you have everything above fixed, but your apoB is still elevated, there is a path here for escalation from statins to ezetimibe. Ezetimibe is a special drug which reduces reabsorption of cholesterol. For example, I personally have a mutation which drives my reabsorption a lot. So even with a perfect diet and exercise and sleep, my cholesterol is still very high and I can see heart inflammation. But when I'm on ezetimibe, inflammation disappears and apoB goes down. Bempedoic acid is a new kind of drug, which almost like a statin, but only acts on your liver. And PCSK9 inhibitors, they are ultimate killers of apoB and Lp(a) if you have that elevated. Like if you have Lp(a) high, that's PCSK9, the amazing drug. Okay, then you just need to control your blood pressure. If it's resistant and you cannot get it down with weight loss and with exercise, blood pressure is very bad for you, so drive it down, keep it controlled. For all the glycemia, elevated blood sugar, there is a metformin if you're diabetic. I had an amazing experience with berberine, that's why I have it linked here, so you can check that experiment. It worked for me as good or better than metformin. And all the modern drugs like GLPs. And SGLT2 inhibitor, that's what allows you to pee blood sugar out. It's considered one of the promising candidates for real longevity. So especially if you can get that on prescription, don't pass it. Just, explore it a little bit more and use. And we also get to endocrine and sex hormones, especially when we get older. Our male and female hormones go down. So get it tested. Don't try to survive with low testosterone if you're male. Get it into the normal physiological range. Don't have to go over the roof, but a little bit, wow, just complete game changer as far as emotions, drive, desire to exercise, and everything else. And the same applies to females, except that you just keep in mind that estrogen is not enough by itself. I mean, estrogen is great for bone health and for heart health, but you need to balance it with progesterone and with a little bit of testosterone as well. Females need testosterone. And last but not least, don't try to implement everything. You have life ahead of you. Pick one thing, and you can comment below the video or here what the thing is to motivate yourself better, and just implement one thing this month. And living is smart, aging is bad. Go check other video, let's say early time restricted eating, because that's big too. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.